Let me tell you something. Every single person in this room has a dream. Every last one of you. You dream about the business, the body, the relationship, the life you're going to have one day. And you go to bed feeling good about it. You wake up thinking about it. You tell your friends about it. And you know what happens? Nothing happens. Because dreams without goals are just dreams. And they will fuel disappointment. You need to have a goal, a specific goal with steps, with timelines, with accountability. Otherwise, you're just a dreamer. And the world is full of dreamers who died with their music still in them. See? Here's what nobody wants to tell you. Dreaming feels good. It feels real good. You can lay in that bed and imagine yourself on that stage, in that corner office, with that family, living that life, and your brain releases the same chemicals as if you actually did it. You get the high without the work. You get the satisfaction without the sacrifice. That's why most people stay there. They're addicted to the feeling of the dream, but they're terrified of the reality of the goal. Dreams without action become anesthesia for your soul. They numb you. They put you to sleep while you're wide awake. You ever seen somebody walking around half dead? Still breathing, still moving, but there's no life in their eyes. That's what happens when you spend years dreaming and never doing. The dream becomes a painkiller. It kills the pain of regret because you can always tell yourself, well, at least I had the dream. At least I thought about it. But that's a lie you're telling yourself to avoid the truth, that you were too afraid to try. And here's the really dangerous part. Dreams make you feel productive when you're not producing anything. You sit there fantasizing, visualizing, making vision boards, talking about what you're going to do, and you walk away feeling accomplished. You feel like you did something, but you didn't. You didn't make a single call. You didn't write a single page. You didn't take a single step. You just gave yourself permission to feel good about potential while avoiding the pain of performance. That's not inspiration. That's sedation. Your soul knows the difference. Deep down, in that place you don't like to visit, you know when you're lying to yourself. You know when you're hiding in the dream because the goal requires too much. It requires you to be uncomfortable, to be criticized, to fail publicly, to work in the dark with no guarantee of light. So you stay in the dream where it's safe, where it's warm, where nobody can judge you because you never actually tried. But that safety is killing you, slowly, quietly. Every day you choose the dream over the goal, a piece of you dies. And one day you wake up and realize you've been asleep your whole life. A goal is different. A goal doesn't care about your feelings. A goal demands something from you. It says, you want this? Then show up at 5 a.m. You want this? Then make the calls you don't want to make. Learn the skills you don't have. Have the conversations that scare you. A goal is an alarm clock that won't let you hit snooze. A dream will let you sleep forever. Listen to me carefully. A goal transforms your wish into an appointment with destiny. You understand what I'm saying? A dream says, someday. Someday I'll start that business. Someday I'll get in shape. Someday I'll write that book. Someday I'll apologize. Someday I'll change. But someday is a place you never arrive at because it doesn't exist on any calendar. It's a fantasy location where dreams go to die slowly. A goal says, TS day, TS hour. By Detachment method, it puts a date on it, a time on it, a strategy behind it. It takes the invisible and makes it visible. It takes the vague and makes it specific. That's the difference between hoping and hunting. When you hope, you're passive. You're waiting for something to happen to you. You're waiting for the break, the opportunity, the lucky moment. But when you hunt, you're active. You're making something happen, THROGHU. You're not waiting to be discovered. You're discovering what you're capable of. You're not looking for doors to open. You're building your own doors. You're not hoping someone sees your potential. You're proving your potential in the dark where nobody's watching. A goal gives you a target. And when you have a target, you can measure progress. You can adjust your aim. You can see if you're getting closer or just spinning your wheels. But a dream is so vague you can convince yourself you're making progress when you're really just making excuses. You can't measure someday. You can't track eventually. You can't hold yourself accountable to when the time is right. That's why most people prefer dreams to goals. Because you can't fail at a dream. You can only fail at a goal. And people would rather live with the possibility of success than face the reality of their effort. And let me tell you where the real tragedy is. The graveyard. You know what the graveyard is full of? Potential. Unfulfilled potential. Businesses that were never started. Books that were never written. Songs that were never sung. Apologies that were never made. Lives that were never IV'd. Why? Because people fell in love with their dreams and never gave birth to their goals. They held on to the fantasy because reality required too much. It required them to fail, to look foolish, to be uncomfortable, to be misunderstood. The graveyard is the richest place on earth. More wealth is buried there than in all the banks combined. More wisdom than in all the libraries. More art than in all the museums. More healing than in all the hospitals. You know why? Because people took their gifts to the grave. They carried their potential like a secret they were too afraid to tell. They had the idea but never built it. Had the calling but never answered it. Had the talent but never developed it. Had the vision but never pursued it. And now it's gone. Forever. Buried 6 feet deep with a body that used to house a miracle. You think that's harsh? That's not harsh. That's reality. Every day people die with their music still in them. And I'm not just talking about physical death. I'm talking about people who are alive but dead inside. Walking corpses who gave up on themselves 20 years ago, but forgot to stop breathing. They're still here, but their dreams aren't. They buried them long before their body gave out. They buried them under fear, under excuses, under what will people think, under I'm too old, under I'm not ready, under maybe next year. And the saddest part, most of them knew. They knew they had something special. They felt it. That burning in their chest, that restlessness in their spirit, that whisper that kept saying, you're meant for more. But they loved their comfort more than they loved their calling. They loved their dreams more than they feared their regrets. So they kept the dream alive, just enough to feel like they hadn't given up, but never turned it into a goal, because that would have required them to actually do something about it. But see, if you're going to turn that dream into reality, you've got to do something that sounds contradictory. You've got to detach. Not from the work. Never from the work. You detach from the outcome. You detach from needing people to understand you. You detach from needing it to happen on your timeline. You detach from needing applause, approval, validation. That's where your power is. When you're so locked in on the daily discipline, on the execution of the goal, that you don't have time to worry about who's watching, who's doubting, who's clapping, who's not. Now listen, because people get this twisted all the time. Detachment from outcome is completely different from detachment from effort. Some people here let go of the outcome, and they think that means don't try hard, don't care, just go through the motions and whatever happens, happens. No, that's not detachment. That's defeat dressed up in spiritual language. That's quitting with a philosophical excuse attached to it. True strength, real power, comes from caring so deeply about the work that the applause becomes irrelevant. You hear me? You care so much about the craft, about the process, about showing up with excellence every single day, that whether people cheer or criticize, whether they notice or ignore you, whether it happens fast or slow, none of that can shake you, because you're not doing it for them. You're doing it because it's who you are. It's what you're called to do. And that calling doesn't need an audience to be valid. See, when you're attached to outcomes, you become a prisoner to circumstances. You become controlled by other people's opinions, by market conditions, by timing you can't control, by doors that won't open when you knock. And when things don't go your way, and they won't always go your way, you crumble, you quit, you take it personal. You think the universe is against you. But when you detach from outcomes and attach yourself to effort, to excellence, to integrity in the process, now you're free. You're free to go all in without fear. Free to risk without being reckless. Free to care without being controlled. That's spiritual maturity right there. That's inner strength. When you can work like it all depends on you, and trust like it all depends on God. When you can give everything you've got to the process and release the results. Because here's the truth. You don't control outcomes. You never did. You control effort. You control consistency. You control showing up when you don't feel like it. That's your jurisdiction. That's your domain. And when you own that, when you take full responsibility for the work and zero credit for the results, you become dangerous. Now here's something most people don't want to hear. Your dream doesn't need your belief to be valid. But your discipline does. You can doubt yourself all day long. You can question whether you're good enough, smart enough, talented enough. You can wake up feeling like a fraud, go to bed feeling like a failure. None of that matters. What matters is whether you did the work anyway. See, faith without works is dead. And dreams without daily decisions are just delusions dressed up in inspiration. You think every morning I wake up believing I'm gonna make it. You think every day I feel confident, motivated, ready to conquer the world. No. Some days I wake up tired. Some days I wake up discouraged. Some days I wake up wondering if any of this matters. But you know what? I get up anyway, I do the work anyway, I make the calls anyway, I show up anyway. Because discipline doesn't negotiate with feelings. Discipline doesn't wait for belief to show up. Discipline says, your feelings are irrelevant. Your doubts are irrelevant. What's relevant is the commitment you made and whether you're going to honor it today. That's the difference between people who make it and people who don't. It's not talent. It's not connections. It's not luck. It's the ability to execute when you don't feel like executing. To be consistent when consistency is boring. To keep going when belief has left the building. Your dream will betray you. It'll make you feel good and deliver nothing. But your discipline will build something even when you can't see it yet. Even when nobody else sees it. Even when you barely believe it yourself. Most people are afraid of goals because goals expose you. A dream can stay vague forever. I want to be successful. Okay, what does that mean? I want to make a difference. How? When? With who? A goal forces you to define it, to measure it, to put your name on it and say, this is what I'm building. And you're going to watch me build it or watch me fail trying. And that vulnerability, that exposure, that's what separates the dreamers from the builders. But listen to me. Failure is part of the goal. It's built into the blueprint. You think every step you take is going to work. You think every door you knock on is going to open. No. Some doors slam in your face. Some steps lead nowhere. Some goals don't happen when you want them to or how you want them to. But you know what? You learn more from the miss than you ever learned from the make. You develop more character in the valley than you ever did on the mountaintop. And here's what happens when you commit to goals instead of just dreams. You start to see yourself differently. Because every time you do what you said you were going to do, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, even when nobody's looking, you build trust with yourself. You prove to yourself that your word means something, that you're not just a talker, you're a doer, and that changes everything. Your confidence isn't based on what people think anymore. It's based on what you can do. You know what you're made of because you tested it. You put yourself in the fire and didn't burn up. See, a dream says, I hope. A goal says, I will. A dream looks for conditions to be perfect. A goal creates conditions. A dream waits for motivation. A goal runs on discipline. And discipline is doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. It's getting up when your body says stay down. It's making the call when your pride says stay quiet. It's studying when your friends say come out. It's investing when the world says spend. That's discipline. And discipline is the bridge between your dream and your destination. But I'm telling you, you can't do this halfway. You can't have one foot in the dream and one foot in the goal. You've got to jump. Both feet, fully committed. Because the moment you commit, the moment you stop negotiating with yourself, stop giving yourself escape routes, stop planning your excuse for when it doesn't work, that's when things start to shift. The universe responds to commitment. People respond to commitment. Opportunities respond to commitment. And let me tell you about detachment one more time, because this is where people get confused. Detaching from the outcome doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care so much that you're willing to do the work, even if nobody ever sees it. Even if you never get credit. Even if it takes longer than you thought. You do it because it's WHOEOURE, not because of what you'll GET. That's freedom, that's power, that's purpose. Your dream is what you see when you close your eyes. Your goal is what you do when you open them. And if you spend your whole life with your eyes closed, you're going to wake up one day and realize you slept through it. You slept through your own life. You let the dream drug you into complacency while time ran out. So here's what I need you to do. Stop talking about what you're going to do someday and write down what you're going to do today. This week. This month. This year. Make it specific. Make it measurable. Make it uncomfortable. Because if your goals don't scare you a little bit, they're not big enough. And then, this is the part that matters. Start. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Start messy, start scared, start small, but start. Because the world doesn't need more dreamers. We got plenty of those. We need builders. We need people who take the invisible and make it visible. Who take the idea and make it reality. Who take the whisper in their spirit and turn it into a shout in the world. That's you. That can be you. But only if you're willing to turn that dream into a goal, and that goal into a daily appointment with your destiny. So what's it going to be? You going to keep dreaming? Or are you going to start building? Because I'm telling you right now, on the other side of that goal, on the other side of that discipline, on the other side of that discomfort, that's where your life is waiting for you. Not the life you imagined. The life you ER'd. And trust me, it's better than anything you dreamed. So here's what I need from you right now. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Right now, I need you to stop lying to yourself. Stop pretending that thinking about it is the same as doing it. Stop confusing intention with action. Stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect version of yourself. That moment isn't coming. That version doesn't exist. This is it. This is your moment. This is your life. And it's happening right now while you're sitting here deciding whether or not you're brave enough to turn your dream into a goal. The clock is ticking. Not to scare you, but to wake you up. Every day you wait is a day you'll never get back. Every year you spend comfortable in your dream is a year stolen from your destiny. And here's what kills me. You already know what you need to do. Deep down, past all the excuses and the fear and the doubt, you know. You've always known. That's why it bothers you when you don't do it. That's why you feel that restlessness, that guilt, that voice that won't shut up no matter how much you try to ignore it. So do something about it today. Write down one goal, not a dream, a goal, something specific, something measurable, something that scares you just enough to prove you're serious. And then do one thing toward that goal before the sun goes down. One call, one page, one rep, one step. Because that's how you honor the dream, not by protecting it, but by putting it to work. Not by keeping it safe, but by putting it at risk. Not by talking about it, but by building it. Your dream is waiting to become your reality. But it needs you to stop dreaming and start deciding. It needs you to stop wishing and start working. It needs you to stop someday and start today. And I'm telling you, when you make that shift, when you finally step out of the fantasy and into the fight, everything changes. You change. And the life you've been dreaming about, it starts dreaming about you.